Before my mother died of illness, she longed to have a grandson, but my wife refused because she disliked children. However, when my wife's first love returned to the country with a daughter in his arms and posted a WeChat moment saying that he wanted to give the child a home, my wife, who had been a committed DINK double income, no kids, immediately said with delight, "Julian, Ethan's daughter is crying for her mother and even threatening to commit suicide. Let's get a fake divorce. For a few days, I'll go and comfort her. Okay, once the child's emotions settle down, we'll remarry and be together for the rest of our lives." Looking at the child who resembled my wife, I felt completely disheartened and nodded. She didn't know that my teacher had been urging me to participate in the scientific research closed camp in the Northwest. After divorcing her, I signed up for it, and I knew I might never come back. "Julian, just give me a month. We'll remarry after a month. Okay, before that, you can stay here for a while." Olivia's eyes were full of love as she tenderly handed me a property ownership certificate. I held the divorce certificate in my hand and wasn't the least bit surprised by the valuable property certificate. After all, the reason she gave me the house was that she wanted me to move out as soon as possible. She was going to bring her first love, Ethan, and his child back home, and she was afraid that they would be jealous if they saw me. Before we got married, Olivia had been involved with many men, but only this first love had always been on her mind. But the first love's words about wanting to give the child a home, she immediately decided to divorce me and be with her first love. But when my mother was dying and longing to hold a grandson, she just stood by and ignored it. Even during the period when I was arranging my mother's funeral, she went all the way abroad to pick up her first love. Thinking of this, my nose suddenly felt sour. This relationship that had lasted for 7 years should come to an end. No need, it's just a month anyway. I can find some random place to live. Don't worry, I'll move out as soon as possible, so as not to see things I shouldn't see. Hearing this, Olivia looked at me with tenderness and affection in her eyes. She held my hand and intertwined our fingers, saying, "No, even if it's just for a month, I can't let my love make do. Just accept it." This was originally the 7th wedding anniversary gift I wanted to give you, but at that time, I have to take Sophia to Disneyland, so I can't accompany you. Hearing this, my heart became even more bitter. It turned out that she also knew that our 7th wedding anniversary, which I valued so much, was coming soon. For this special day, I had even started preparing 3 months in advance. She had originally promised me that she would take time off to celebrate the festival with me on that day. But now, on that day, she was going to take Ethan's daughter to Disneyland. I took the property ownership certificate and said, "Okay, thank you for the gift. I'll pack my luggage and move out." Hearing this, Olivia bit her lip and said awkwardly, "Julian, Sophia said she didn't like your things, so I threw them all away. I'll transfer 1 million yuan to you. You can go and buy new ones." Threw them all away. My lips trembled slightly, and I said in disbelief, "What about the aircraft carrier model made by my father? Was that thrown away too?" That aircraft carrier model was the only memento left by my father before he passed away. It was very precious to me, and Olivia couldn't possibly not know that. Surely it wasn't thrown away. Hearing this, Olivia looked a bit uncomfortable. She pursed her lips and said, "It wasn't thrown away, but Sophia broke it." Sophia didn't mean to. I spent a long time trying to piece it together, but I couldn't fix it. She wanted to explain further, but I didn't want to listen anymore. I ran into the bedroom, and everything familiar in sight had changed. Our wedding photos were gone. My clothes were gone. All the traces of my existence had been erased, but I didn't care about these things. The only thing I cared about was the memento left by my father. But now, the thing I had always cherished was broken into pieces and thrown in a corner where no one paid attention. I endured the pain in my heart and picked up the pieces on the floor, one by one. "Mom, who is he? Why is he in our house and picking up this pile of unwanted junk? Is he a junk collector?" Ethan led an 8-year-old girl and walked in. Olivia, who had always disliked children, immediately picked her up in her arms with a radiant look of motherly love on her face. She said gently, "He's not a junk collector. He's Uncle Julian." Sophia quickly added, "Call him Uncle." The little girl pouted and said, "I don't have such a junk collector uncle." Hearing this, a trace of pride flashed in Ethan's eyes. But he deliberately criticized her aloud. "Sophia, how can you be so rude? Julian, the child is still young and doesn't know any better. You surely won't be angry with a child, right? Come to think of it, I should also thank you for making it possible for me to be with Olivia." I held all the pieces in my arms, stood up, and looked at them, who looked like a family of 3. I couldn't help but laugh at myself and said, "How could I be angry? The child is right. I really am here to collect junk. Look, isn't this what I have in my arms?" Hearing this, a trace of pity flashed in Olivia's eyes. "Julian, the child is still young and doesn't understand. Don't be angry. You can leave this model with me. I'll spend as much money as it takes to fix it for you." Okay. I shook my head, and my heart became even more numb. No need. If it's broken, it's broken. Even if it's fixed, it won't be the same thing anymore. Hearing this, Olivia let out a sigh of relief and subconsciously glanced at the little girl in her arms. She smiled and said, "That's good. I was worried you'd be angry before. Julian, look how much this child resembles me. She's just like my own daughter." I promised Sophia to take her to a big meal at noon, so before she could finish her sentence, I immediately nodded. "Okay, I'll leave right away." This child really did look just like Olivia's biological daughter, and the age was also about right. I was completely disheartened and turned to leave. Before leaving, I wished them, "I wish you a happy new marriage. And to this little girl, I wish you happiness and good health." I held the pieces and went outside, then sent a message to my teacher. I agreed to participate in the indefinite scientific research closed camp in the Northwest that will start in a month. Olivia and I met at a school enterprise achievement transformation communication meeting. At that time, I was a rising star in the scientific research field, and she was a well-known flirtatious female CEO in the business world. Unexpectedly, after she met me, she fell in love with me at first sight. She immediately cut off all those messy relationships and devoted herself to pursuing me, pestering me persistently. As time passed, I agreed, but her family had always been against our relationship. After all, my parents were just ordinary farmers, and we didn't match in social status. But Olivia threatened to commit suicide if she couldn't marry me. That's how we managed to get married smoothly. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. It turned out that even the deepest love could turn sour one day. Since that was the case, it was time for me to leave. I put the model pieces in the car and drove to Olivia's grandmother's house. When everyone was against us, only this old lady had been silently supporting me. Now that I was about to leave, of course, I had to go and see her. Grandma was very happy to see me. "Julian, didn't you just come here the day before yesterday? Why are you here again today?" Before I could say anything, a voice came from the door. "Mom, Olivia has divorced that Julian and is with the young master of the Ethan family. Come and take a look at your great-granddaughter. She looks so much like Olivia." My father-in-law held Sophia in his arms and walked in excitedly, but the moment he saw me, his face suddenly darkened. "Why are you here? Get out now. You're no longer our Olivia's husband." Grandma immediately exclaimed, "What, Julian, you've divorced Olivia?" Hearing this, I remained silent and just nodded. My father-in-law had always disliked me, and now his wish had finally come true. Olivia and Ethan walked in, holding hands. The moment she saw me, Olivia's face showed a hint of panic, and she quickly pulled her hand away. "Julian, my dad doesn't know about our fake divorce. Don't misunderstand. Did he really not know, or did you deliberately not tell him? The so-called fake divorce was just an excuse." I shook my head. "It's okay. I just came to see Grandma. Since you're all here, I should go now." I turned to look at Grandma and said goodbye. "Goodbye, Grandma." After that, despite Grandma's attempts to keep me, I turned and left. Grandma was so angry that she started cursing. "Get out. All of you, get out. I only have Julian as my grandson-in-law and this child. Take her away. I only recognize Julian's child. All of you ungrateful wretches, get out." The little girl was so scared that she started crying loudly, and Olivia immediately comforted her. "Grandma, I didn't ask you to accept Ethan and Sophia. I just brought the child to meet her great-grandmother. Is there a need for you to be so angry? You've scared Sophia. Ethan, let's go." After saying that, Olivia angrily picked up the child and left, but when she went out, she met me. "Julian, why haven't you left yet?" "I'm leaving soon, just replying to a message. My teacher sent me a message." "Are you serious? This is an indefinite scientific research closed camp. Once you go in, everything outside will have nothing to do with you. Are you willing to leave your little charming wife behind?" Just as I was about to reply, I looked up and heard Olivia say, "Julian, could you please stop coming to my grandma's house in the future? Every time Sophia sees you, she gets unhappy. This child's emotions are already unstable." Hearing this, I remained calm. After replying okay to my teacher, I turned to her and said, "Sorry, I won't come again in the future." This scene seemed familiar. However, once I was the one standing by her side, being fiercely protected by her. After saying that, I started the car and left. Before leaving, I saw the panic and helplessness in Olivia's eyes, but I didn't look back. In a trance, I drove past the snack street near the school. I stopped the car and walked in. When I first fell in love with Olivia, I hadn't graduated yet and was in a very difficult situation. Every time I treated Olivia to a meal, it was at the roadside stalls here. "Mom, Dad, I want to eat this tungulu." Just as I was lost in thought, 3 familiar figures came over. Olivia's family of 3, wearing matching parent-child outfits, had happy smiles on their faces. The little girl also saw me. A hint of mockery flashed in her eyes, and she shouted loudly, "Junk collector uncle, why are you here? Are you here to collect junk? Before I could speak, Ethan quickly stepped forward and said pitifully, Julian, Sophia's emotions are really unstable right now. It took Olivia a lot of effort to calm her down. Could you please stop following us and stimulating her? Please, Olivia also had a complicated expression and came over with the little girl. Ethan, you take Sophia too by Tong Hulu first. Let me have a chat with Julian. After they left, Olivia immediately looked at me and said helplessly, Julian, I've been really tired from taking care of the child recently. Why have you been following us? Didn't we agree that we would remarry a month later? Let's give each other some space for now and not contact each other. Okay. Hearing this, my heart became even more desolate, and my voice was low as I said, okay, we won't contact each other in the future. Hearing these words, Olivia was stunned for a moment and quickly grabbed me. That's not what I meant. I meant ... We won't contact each other this month. Julian, don't think too much. I promise that I will come back on time to remarry you in a month. No one can replace you in my heart. By the way, didn't you always want a child? I now think that children aren't as scary as I imagined. So, after we remarry, shall we have a child of our own together? I lowered my eyes and nodded. It's all up to you. I'll leave now, lest Sophia gets angry. I kept my promise to Olivia and didn't contact her for a whole month. I often saw her sharing her days of taking care of the child and her WeChat moments. Went to Disneyland with my husband and daughter today. My daughter said she wanted to eat a cake made by her mom, so I spent 3 days trying to learn how to make it, but I failed. I'd better just buy a ready-made one. My daughter insisted on taking a family photo. I haven't worn a wedding dress for a long time, and it seems I can hardly fit into it anymore. Looking at the family photo in her wedding dress in her WeChat moments, my nose suddenly felt sour. She called me. Julian, can we postpone the day of our remarriage by 3 more days? I miss you so much, but Sophia's birthday is coming up soon, and I want to wait until after her birthday. By the way, Sophia's emotions have been much more stable recently. Would you like to come to her birthday party too? I couldn't bring myself to attend the birthday party of her and someone else's daughter. Moreover, I was about to leave soon. I was going to contribute to the country's defense research, and this time, I might never come back. Everything about me in this world would be erased. Olivia, she would never be able to find me again. No need, you just stay with Sophia and Ethan. Probably because my tone was too cold, Olivia sensed something was wrong. Why don't you come? We haven't seen each other for a month. Don't you miss me? I checked the surveillance. Why aren't you at home? Where did you go? At the end of her words, there was a hint of a sob in her voice. I whooshed. The high-speed train slowly pulled into the station, and the sound of the whistle interrupted my thoughts. Why is there the sound of a high-speed train's whistle? Julian, are you at the high-speed railway station? Where are you going? Why didn't you tell me in advance? Didn't we agree that it was just a temporary separation? How can you leave without saying goodbye? Please don't go. Wait for me. I'm on my way to find you right now. Okay, I can't. Before she could finish, I interrupted her. Goodbye, Olivia. So many words were stuck in my heart, but all I could say was goodbye. With red eyes, I hung up the phone, took one last look at the city where she was, and turned to board the high-speed train. Just as the high-speed train stopped checking tickets, I swiped across a piece of news on my phone. A Maybach ran several red lights in a row and was speeding towards the high-speed railway station as if it didn't care about its life. Was it Olivia's car? Even if it was Olivia, so what? The train was already moving slowly. Olivia called again. I answered Julian. Wait for me. Okay, I'll be at the high-speed railway station in 5 minutes. Please, really please, give me a chance. Okay. Hearing the urgency in her tone and the sound of the tires constantly rubbing, I couldn't help but sigh. Olivia, I can't wait for you. The high-speed train has already left. Don't do anything stupid. That's it. I've joined the indefinite scientific research closed camp in the Northwest. So this time, I can't promise you, Olivia. During the days when I'm not here, I wish you, Ethan, and your child happiness. My voice was a bit hoarse and low. It was too painful to wish the girl I liked happiness with someone else. Why? We clearly agreed that it was just a temporary separation. How could you have the heart to never see me again? Stop, right now. I'll go crazy without you. Before she could finish, I interrupted her. Facing the city where she was, I forced an ugly smile and said my final goodbye. It's too late. The high-speed train has already left. Jang. This time, it's really goodbye, Olivia. After saying that, I closed my eyes and heartlessly hung up the phone. I looked affectionately at her wallpaper on my phone. She was my first love and the most unforgettable person in my heart. I gave up my scientific research pursuit of many years for her and stayed with her. I was the one she couldn't let go of. For me, she could stand against the whole world just to be with me. She said that Olivia would be with Julian forever. I asked her how far forever was, and she said that on the scale of time, it was the whole life where we intersected with each other. But now, the intersection was broken, and we returned to a life of being parallel and not intersecting again. So my lifetime with her was coming to an end. Love rises with the wind, and when the wind stops, the regret lingers. The wind is blowing, the fog is dissipating, and it's time for me to leave. However, it seemed that the goddess of fate liked to play tricks on me. Just as I was feeling sentimental, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a dark Maybach. The front of the car was smashed. 2 pieces. The windshield was covered with cracks, and half of it had fallen off. The beams of the 2 xenon headlights pierced into the depths of the darkness. And it was desperately chasing along the railway tracks. Damn it, someone is chasing a high-speed train in a Maybach. It seems to be a woman. The exclamations of the people around me woke me up from my stupor. Maybach Olivia. Was she risking her life in a hurry? I went to the side of the train window. Olivia's hair was fluttering wildly in the wind. There were glass shards and dark red bloodstains on her body, and her snot and tears were mixed together, making her look very embarrassed. The moment she saw me, it seemed as if she was crying out in despair. "Julian, stop, I beg you to stop." I clenched my fists, and my eyes turned red. I shouted through the glass, "Olivia, you idiot. How can I stop this high-speed train? Can't you wait for me at the next station?" However, the dark and broken Maybach crashed into a big tree beside it with a loud bang, and sparks flew everywhere. At this moment, the high-speed train suddenly braked sharply and stopped. The announcement sounded, "Dear passengers, we're sorry. Due to external construction affecting the railway track, the train on Line 1 has been damaged. We will soon carry out emergency repairs and evacuate the passengers." The next moment, the door opened, and I quickly ran down the railway track towards Olivia. "Olivia, where are you?" There was no response, and there was still a smell of gasoline in the air. I was anxious in my heart. I pushed past those complicated branches before I saw Olivia's figure. All the airbags had popped out, and Olivia, with blood streaming down her head, was buried in the airbags. Gasoline was constantly dripping from the fuel tank. "Sir, come back quickly. It's dangerous. It seems like it's going to explode." Someone around was shouting at me, but I couldn't hear. Then there was only Olivia in my eyes. I gritted my teeth and rushed over, using all my strength to pull her out of the car. Boom! The next moment, the Maybach behind me suddenly exploded. I placed her aside and gave her artificial respiration and chest compressions, and she finally woke up with a pale face. "Olivia, are you an idiot? Chasing a high-speed train with a Maybach. Only you could do such a thing." I punched the railway track hard, making a loud noise, and my knuckles were bleeding. Olivia, regardless of everything, with blood still flowing from her forehead, hugged me while crying. "I am an idiot. If I don't have you in my world, I'd rather die. Julian, you have such a cruel heart. You clearly said you'd wait for me, but you want to abandon me and never see me again. Tell me you're just kidding, right? You're just angry that I didn't remarry you on time, so you want to take revenge on me." Before she could finish, she fainted. I let out a sigh, and the faint sadness that had lingered in my heart dissipated. Soon, the traffic police and the ambulance arrived. Olivia was taken to the hospital, and I took the punishment for her. Fortunately, there were no accidents on the way, so Olivia only had her driver's license revoked. I sent a message to my teacher telling him that I needed to participate later. Unexpectedly, my teacher replied immediately. "I saw it all. A Maybach chasing a high-speed train has even become a top trending topic on the whole internet. Sigh, if you don't want to go, I can cancel it for you." Thinking of Olivia's madness just now, a trace of hesitation flashed across my face. But Ethan came with his daughter. "Olivia, are you okay? If something happened to you, how would I and our daughter live?" A hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, and he pushed me aside. Amid his exclamations, Olivia woke up. "Julian, where are you? Don't leave." She quickly looked around, and only when she found that I was by her side did she heave a sigh of relief. "Mom, woo-woo." Sophia was so scared. Sophia thought that a trace of disappointment flashed in Ethan's eyes, and his daughter immediately burst into tears. Regardless of her injuries all over her body, Olivia held her in her arms, lovingly. Don't cry, Sophia, don't cry. Mom is here." Suddenly, I no longer hesitated. I replied, "No need to, my teacher," and turned off my phone. I looked at Olivia and said calmly, "Since your husband and child are here, I'll be leaving now." After saying that, I turned to leave, but unexpectedly, Olivia rushed down from the hospital bed and hugged me tightly. "Julian, don't leave." I was calm, but when my back was soaked with her tears, my heart felt an inexplicable pang of sadness. "Olivia, if you're so reluctant to part with me, then why did you betray our love? Olivia, forget about me. I've really signed up for the scientific research closed camp. Once I report in, all the information about me in this world will be erased. You just pretend that I have never appeared in your world." At the end, my tone fluctuated a bit. I don't know if Olivia can forget me, but I'm sure I can't forget her. After all, I have no relatives left, and she is the only one I have. Olivia turned me around and hugged me face to face, pressing her forehead against mine. Her tears streamed down her cheeks and fell on my neck. Julian, how could you bear to let me forget you? How can I forget the person I love the most? I don't believe you'll abandon me and sign up. You're just punishing me. You can't leave. Hearing this, I pretended to be relaxed and pushed her away. Time will erase everything. You just can't accept it for now. Besides, you have a happy and fulfilling family now. You have both a husband and a daughter. The Northwest, where I'm going next, is much harsher. However, upon hearing these words, Olivia froze. No, I don't want my husband or child. I only want you. If you insist on leaving, then I'll continue driving to chase you. If you don't turn back, I'll crash into the train and kill myself. Hearing this, I was so angry that I laughed. Then what if I take a plane? Are you going to fly a plane and go skydiving with me? Olivia, can't you stop being so childish? At this moment, Ethan's daughter burst into a loud wail. Mom, why do you not want me and Dad because of this uncle? Woo-woo, Sophia is so sad. Mom doesn't want me anymore. Sophia doesn't want to live either. After saying that, she took a surgical scissors from the bedside and stabbed at her own wrist. Olivia was so scared that her face turned pale, and she rushed over directly. Sophia, don't cry. Mom was just joking. After comforting her for a while, Ethan's daughter stopped her self-harming behavior. Ethan managed to squeeze out a few tears from his eyes and said pitifully, Julian, Sophia is my only daughter. Do you really want to force her to death? If you don't like me, I can leave, but please be kind to my daughter. Okay. Upon hearing this, his daughter immediately cried out, if Dad leaves, I don't want to live either. Mom, drive this junk collector uncle away, quickly. Sophia doesn't like him. When I see him, I don't want to live anymore. Get out. Why are you pestering my mom, you junk collector? You even made my mom get hurt. Get out now. As she spoke, she threw the scissors in her hand at me. The sharp scissors scratched my cheek. Seeing this, Olivia's face froze. She reached out her hand as if she wanted to say something to me but was stopped by the crying little girl. I saw the struggle and pleading in her eyes. My heart darkened, and I turned to leave. What junk collector? My disciple is clearly a genius scientist from the Research Institute. It was my teacher. Why was he here? I looked at my teacher, who had rushed over, sweating profusely, with surprise in my eyes. Teacher, you, before I could finish? My teacher interrupted anxiously. Julian, is that aircraft carrier model left by your father still there? Bring it quickly. That thing is very important. We received the news that it is a 1-to-1 replica of a foreign advanced aircraft carrier model. If we use it as a reference, we might be able to develop our own ahead of time. Now that factory has been punished and closed down by foreign countries, so all the models have been recalled. The only one left in the world now is the one your father had. Upon hearing this, before I could speak, Olivia turned pale and said, is it the aircraft carrier model that Sophia broke? How could this happen? Upon hearing this, my teacher was directly shocked and angry. What? It's broken. This is a disaster. How could it be broken? Where are the pieces? Looking at my teacher's pale and angry face, I couldn't help but sigh and say, the pieces are with me, but it can't be put back together. A few parts are missing. However, since I was a child, I've taken this model apart and put it back together many times. I still remember the blueprint. Upon hearing this, my teacher finally relaxed and smiled. That's good. That's good. Julian, have you dealt with the matters here? If you have, before my teacher could finish, he was interrupted by Olivia. No, teacher, can you give Julian and me a little more time? Teacher, for the sake of the tea I once served you, please help me. Okay. Upon hearing this, my teacher sighed, nodded, and turned to leave. Before leaving, he specifically stared at Ethan's daughter a few times. Ethan's daughter immediately started crying again, but this time, Olivia had a cold face. Shut up. Upon hearing this, Ethan's daughter's face immediately turned pale, and she shrank behind Ethan. A trace of viciousness flashed in Ethan's eyes, but he said pitifully, Olivia, don't blame Sophia. Blame me if you have to. Blame me for not being capable enough, which made her lack motherly love since she was a child and developed this kind of character. As he spoke, he turned to look at me again. Julian, you surely won't be angry with a child, right? Upon hearing this, I smiled. How could I? After all, this is Olivia's daughter. How could I be angry with her? Upon hearing these words, Ethan's daughter timidly came out from behind him. Junk collector uncle, are you really a scientist? However, as soon as she opened her mouth, Ethan gave her a glare. She immediately got scared and ran towards Olivia. Olivia took a deep breath. All right, Ethan, you take Sophia and leave first. Let me have a good talk with Julian. Upon hearing this, Ethan's face was filled with an expression of disbelief, and his daughter immediately burst into loud sobs. But Olivia kept a cold face the whole time. He had no choice but to cover his chest, looking in pain. He took his daughter's hand, pretended to be very disappointed, and staggered away step by step. I understood from the glances he threw back from time to time that he was waiting for Olivia to persuade him to stay. Unfortunately, until he disappeared from the ward, Olivia didn't say a word. Aren't you really going to see Ethan and your daughter? They seem to be really upset. After all, one is your husband and the other is your daughter, I said calmly. Unexpectedly, Olivia hugged me. My husband can only be Julian. Only you. Olivia buried her head deeply in my chest, and her tone became even more gentle and affectionate. Julian, shall we remarry? I'll divorce Ethan right now. You don't know that during this past month, I've been thinking about you all the time. But every time I leave, Sophia starts crying. If it weren't for taking care of her, I would have come to find you long ago. You're always on my mind. Don't leave me, okay? I really can't imagine what life would be like without you. Upon hearing this, I hugged her, and my tone was not calm. This time, the country has invested a great deal of resources, and I have very important blueprints in my head. So I'm sorry, Olivia, I can't promise you. Just now, my teacher said he managed to get me a week's time. Let me accompany you for the last week. After a week, I'll board the train again. But this time, you promise me. Don't chase after me recklessly again. Okay, forget about me, but don't be with Ethan. Find another man to marry. He's not a good person. Upon hearing this, Olivia had a pale face and murmured to herself, a week, just a week, there's still time. As she spoke, ignoring her own injuries, she pulled me back home. As soon as we got home, she somehow found the household register and the divorce certificate. Julian, let's remarry. Whatever the matter is, let's remarry first. Whatever compensation you want, I'll make it up to you slowly. By the way, didn't our mom want us to have a child before she passed away? I used to hate children, but I don't hate them now. Let's have a child right away. Okay. As she spoke, she started pulling at my pants and dragging me towards the room. Looking at her like this, I felt a sudden pang of sadness and hugged her. Olivia, I don't need those things. I'm leaving in a week. I just want one promise from you. Olivia looked up with red eyes. What promise? After I leave, don't be sad, don't be sorrowful, and don't commit suicide. Upon hearing this, Olivia's eyes instantly became empty, and she slumped to the ground. I can promise you, ... I won't commit suicide, but I can't promise you the other things. I can't promise you things that I can't do. Upon hearing this, the stone in my heart finally dropped. My eyes went dark for a moment, and I fainted to the ground involuntarily. Julian, what's wrong with you? It's okay. Just let me rest for a while. I should have been affected by the explosion when I saved you. I sat on the ground and then felt a sharp pain in my back. It seemed that my skin and clothes were burned together. I didn't notice it before because I was wearing a coat. At this moment, Ethan came in with his daughter. Gosh, Julian, why is your back all covered in blood? Uncle, are you going to die? Don't die in my parents' house. Upon hearing this, Olivia immediately became anxious and called to send me to the hospital again. Only after my wound was bandaged did she heave a sigh of relief. I saw the fear in her eyes and held her hand to comfort her. Seeing this, a trace of jealousy flashed in Ethan's eyes. He winked at his daughter, and she immediately started crying. Mom, I suddenly feel so sad. Mom, can you hug me? As she spoke, she came in front of Olivia and asked for a hug. Olivia hugged her lovingly. What's wrong again, you child? Why do you feel sad when you see Julian? Ethan quickly came up to explain. Maybe Sophia is jealous, seeing Mom being so intimate with someone else. Now that Julian is okay, Olivia, can we go back and prepare for Sophia's birthday gift? Upon hearing this, Ethan's daughter immediately smiled. Mom, I want to eat a big cake. I've never had a birthday cake before. Upon hearing this, Olivia frowned immediately. Never had one? Ethan, didn't you buy a birthday cake for your daughter on her birthday? Ethan's face immediately darkened, and he said to his daughter, Didn't I give you a birthday cake on your birthday last year? Have you forgotten? His daughter's face immediately froze. Oh right, Sophia forgot. I've eaten it before. As she spoke, she buried her face in Olivia's arms, looking scared. Seeing this, I was puzzled. Olivia, isn't Sophia your daughter with Ethan? Why does it seem that you're not familiar with her past? Upon hearing this, Olivia's face froze. Julian, what are you talking about? How could I have a child with Ethan? She's not your child. Then why does she look so much like you? Upon hearing this, Olivia seemed to think of something. She stood up and stared at Ethan intently. Ethan, come to think of it, I also want to know. You've been abroad for so many years, and suddenly you came back with a child who looks so much like me. You begged me to be the mother of your child, but you don't seem like someone who can take care of a child at all. What on earth is the situation with this child? Upon hearing this, Ethan hurriedly explained, Olivia, what are you talking nonsense about? Sophia is my child. It's just a coincidence that she looks like you. Isn't it normal that I can't take care of a child? I'm the young master of the Ethan family. How could I know how to take care of a child? At the end, he even started crying. Pitifully, at this moment, the TV in the ward played a piece of news. The illegitimate son of the Ethan family has owed a sky-high gambling debt abroad. The Ethan family has now expelled him from the family. Seeing this, Olivia immediately reacted. You've owed a sky-high gambling debt and you were expelled from the family. You don't have the money to pay off the debt, so you thought of using me. Ethan was completely panicked. He quickly turned off the TV and tried to explain, but Olivia didn't believe him anymore. She called the bodyguards and had Ethan and his daughter taken away to do a paternity test. Soon, the paternity test report came out, and it showed that there was no parent-child relationship between them. Olivia immediately had him and his daughter arrested. Soon, the truth was learned from Sophia's mouth. The fact was indeed, as Olivia had thought, Ethan owed a sky-high gambling debt. When he was being forced by the creditors to be taken to sell himself, he found Sophia in the slums, who looked very much like Olivia. That's why he thought of using her to seize Olivia's family property. After learning everything, Ethan was personally handed over to the creditors by her. I stared blankly at the report. So it's like this. I misunderstood you, Olivia. I'm sorry. I thought Sophia was your child. Olivia smiled at me and said, Sophia isn't my child, but she's still related to me. She's my father's illegitimate daughter. I saw that she looked so much like me, so I checked. Now, I've left her to my father to deal with. Julian, now that our misunderstanding is cleared up, can you stay? Upon hearing this, my eyes dimmed. I can't, Olivia. It's too late. This time it's related to the fate of the country. I have to go. Olivia hugged me while crying and kept murmuring, sorry. I hugged her. Don't say sorry to your lover. Later, we remarried. After a night of intimacy, I devoted myself to the Northwest camp. She vowed that she would wait for me with the child, no matter how long it took. 18 years later, I returned home with the model of the country's first aircraft carrier. Olivia, I'm home. What greeted me was my wife, who was no longer young, and my grown